Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Excellence IAS. Let us have editorial analysis for today, that is 24th October 2022. The first article, Deciphering Samba Politics in Brazil. So Brazil in many ways is similar to India, a developing country, part of BRICS, and today it is going for elections. What we can learn from Brazil, from the elections perspective and also from developmental perspective. Brazil election system is a mixed system. The mixed system, it means that it has got the first past the post system and proportional representation system. An independent electoral management body which is called electoral court exists. What we need to learn here with regard to Election Commission of India is this. The electoral court in Brazil is independent, is able to indict the existing president for his behavior during the elections. And coming to this, they also use biometric system of voter identification and EVMs are being used. And one more thing is compulsory voting is there in Brazil. So this compulsory voting is absent in India. There were proposals for compulsory voting, but the manageability of this is very difficult in a big country such as India. And coming to dual citizenship, so we are also offering OCI card, but it do not have voting rights. But many of the NRIs, they are unable to vote today in Indian elections due to lack of a proper voting procedure or election process over there. And the next is, from the developmental perspective, two things you need to remember. We took Bolsa Familia as an example from Brazil. What is Bolsa Familia? It is cash transfers. Subsidies in kind are replaced by subsidies through cash transfers. The JAM Trinity, Jandan, Aadhaar, mobile phone. This connectivity is called JAM Trinity. The JAM Trinity has become the basis for money transfers. So Bolsa Familia, JAM Trinity. So these are connected with each other. And then participatory budgeting, where the budget has to be made through the involvement of the people, has started in a town called Porto Alegre in Brazil, Porto Alegre. And People's Campaign in the 9th 5-year plan, Kerala has adopted. So bottom-up approach of accountability is created in Brazil. The same system of social accountability we adopted in the case of India. Now, what are the issues? Political polarization is happening all over Brazil. So Bolsonaro on one side, Mr. De Silva on the other side. De Silva represents the left, Bolsonaro represents the right. So in this context, today in the world of social media, the world is getting divided like never before. The biggest challenge either India or Brazil, which what they are facing is political polarization. So these are the points which you can use for your examination. So mostly you can quote these as example. With regard to social accountability or bottom-up approach, participatory budgeting, Bolsa Familia, JAM Trinity, and then People's Campaign for Kerala. These are the things you can quote as examples. Upholding unity, opposing uniformity. This is about Hindi and making Hindi the sole official language of union. So what are the arguments against that? So if you see over here, it's a direct assault on federalism and principle of equal citizenship. What does that mean? All citizens shall have equal right to enjoy their culture, and the state imposing one language on the other is going to be a violation of cultural right. So any kind of uniformity in a diverse country such as India, if it is forcibly imposed, it can be threat to India's unity. So that's why either it is unity or uniformity. So if you press on uniformity, especially linguistic uniformity, it can be very damaging. And second, government spends 22 times more in promoting Hindi compared to other languages. It means that most of the revenue which is coming from the south goes into Hindi promotion. So with the money of languages or non-Hindi speaking areas is going into Hindi speaking areas and is also used for the promotion of Hindi. That's how they are objecting to it. So finally, how Hindi imposition has led to a problem in India. Ramaswamy Periyar In Tamil Nadu, opposed for Hindi imposition or compulsory Hindi in secondary schools before independence itself, when Rajagopalachari was the chief minister. And when official language act tried to impose Hindi, compulsory Hindi, that led to anti-Hindi agitation. Finally, central government promised that English will continue as an official language as long as the people of South wants it for. So these points need to be taken into consideration. So all the official languages, 22 official languages which are there in the 8th schedule of the Constitution shall be given equal status. This is the point we need to discuss. And last week we already spoke about what are the provisions of Article 344 of the Constitution, Official Language Commission of BG Care and its recommendations, Parliamentary Committee on Official Language. What are the differences between these two? These are already covered to you. How investment infrastructure trusts or infrastructure investment trusts work and generate their returns. Remember, these work as mutual funds, are more or less like mutual funds with more regulations. So underlying asset of these investment trusts are the projects. Let us take a road is being built. The road belongs to that investment trust, and the revenue which is generated on that road in the form of toll will be the income. In this, 90% of the income they earn has to be given as dividends to the investors. The debt which it can take shall not cross 70% of its asset value, and 80% of the investments of these trusts have to be kept in completed infrastructure projects. So that's why it has got greater security. So how they work? They take the investments from you, me and everyone, invest it in the infrastructure projects, they take the income which is coming from them and distribute that as dividends to the investors. This is the simple way of working. So who is the regulator? SEBI is the regulator. And then vital intervention, issue hate speech. Now Supreme Court has made it clear that hate speech will not be accepted. What are the reasons for the rise of hate speech? One is inaction of police. The police are not acting on time. And then there is administrative bias and prejudice. So most of the times today, the administrative system is not reactive to the concerns of hate speech, or when the hate speech is coming from one particular group, this is being neglected. And the third is media also channelizing the hate speech. You can take the example of Sudarshan TV, which has spread the hate news through its channels, and religious bigotry. These are all the things which are the reasons for the spread of hate speech. What the Supreme Court said, let us recollect over here. Police shall act proactive in the matters of hate speech. The second thing is, any kind of inaction from the police will attract the contempt action. So these 2 points you can quote, the steps taken by the Supreme Court with regard to the hate speech. You can quote these 2 points as the judgment of the Supreme Court. And the next is out of favor. So if you take the Pakistani politics, most of the times Pakistan has suffered from the military dictatorship rather than the elected leadership's inefficiency. If you take about Nawaz Sharif, or for that matter, today Mr. Imran Khan. So when they fell disfavor to the military, these are being overthrown from the power. So the civil administration is more like a puppet in the military hands. So who is more dangerous to democracy in Pakistan? It is the military or military dictatorship, or the dual government that is existing in the form of military and civil administration is the greater danger to democracy in Pakistan. Ancient stewardship now stamped on the present. So in this case, what we have to learn from ancient India? You don't need to go into this entire article. In the case of Cholas in Tamil Nadu, if you carefully observe, they have got a well-governed water management system. So there is a village council which is an elected body, and this village council has annual planning of cropping and water release schedule. So the irrigation management systems which are developed during Chola period can set an example for modern governance of the irrigation or Jalashakti ministry. That is the essence which you can take over here. These are the articles for today. Thank you very much. So yesterday as festival was there, our studio was closed, so we did not do the video. So that's why we are doing it today. Today as newspaper did not come, so we are going to resume it tomorrow. Thank you very much.